Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Herbal Mana podcast. On our podcast, first of all, I'm Todd Bailey, CEO of Herbal Mana, and we dig into all sorts of things that are going to help us with our healing journey, help us to hurt less and live more. That's our little catchphrase we've got at Herbal Mana. Today, we have a special guest. This is going to be a lot of fun because we're going to dig into some music as medicine. In this case, we've got Judith Pinkerton. Judith, welcome.
Thank you very much, Todd. It's such a pleasure to spend some time with you today.
I'm looking forward to it. Oh, music is my medicine. I can see that in your background. That's awesome. Tell us about that and Music for Life and how it came to be.
Oh, Lord. Well, a few decades ago, I was having a conversation with a radio syndicator, and she goes, "You know what? You need to call this something catchy." Oh, back then, Music for Life is what was born. So it is a national trademark. And really what it stands for is the Music Medicine Protocol. So the Music Medicine Protocol is born out of my personal experience providing music therapy services for clients literally from cradle to grave. Over the last few decades, it's been honed into a protocol that is now a do-it-yourself tool, not only for clinicians, mental health providers, and music therapists, but also just for you and me and, those that we love and need support, especially in these times when there's a lot of anxiety and anger and depression and sadness that are going untreated. And so it's understanding how do our music listening habits support our mental health. And what I've discovered over the last decade, working specifically with more than 11,000 patients in residential addiction treatment centers, is that there is what I have called now a chronic comfort zone. And it seems like an oxymoron, like, wouldn't that be a good thing to be in, a chronic comfort zone? But in this reality, it's not. And what I've learned is that our music listening habits can trap us in chronic comfort zones where we misinterpret our energy and our life experience to the point where the music, the choices that we are making are actually entrapping us in chronic comfort zones. So for instance, say that you feel energized all the time and you choose to listen to music that really fuels that energy. But in actuality, when you do a more specific look at your music listening habits, you discover that they're fueling anger and that you're misinterpreting your energy as being energized. So in our protocol, we have 3 mood categories, and it is born out of music therapy's original 2 categories of music sedative and stimulative. And it takes the stimulative category and makes it unsettled and energized. So it's recognizing that stimulative can be anger or anxiety or depression or sadness, and that it can also be happy and joyful and so on. It's understanding then, so what are my moods? How do I become more emotionally aware of what I really am feeling? And more importantly, how then are my music choices supporting or reducing the moods that I don't want, increasing the moods that I do want? And so this protocol is all about recognizing what states you're in, understanding how to reflect on the music choices that you make, and whether they are entrapping you in what we call chronic comfort zones, or whether they're allowing you to experience more emotional fluidity. Emotional fluidity being that state of being able to fluidly flow through all your emotions in your broad emotional landscape and not get trapped in any one specific mood, like sadness or anxiety or depression. Or another chronic comfort zone is anxiety. You may misinterpret your energy as being excited all the time, push play on music that actually keeps you trapped in that rather than getting rid of it. So there's a lot of conversation that we can have about this, because the third entrapment is depression. And so this becomes a suicide prevention technique. So as you think of those that you may have known that have either attempted suicide or died by suicide, and known the kinds of music that they listen to, I unfortunately have known clients who have died by suicide, and I know about their music listening habits. And it is really a danger zone to be aware of and to understand how to navigate a different kind of conversation with loved ones or with even strangers on the street about music listening habits. Because if someone's playing music that you don't want to listen to, what is your normal reaction, Todd?
Ooh, walk away, turn it down, something.
Turn it on. Right?
Get away. Yep.
Yeah. So So we have training programs that increase awareness about what are music listening habits, first of all, and what are mood entrapments, and how can I navigate a conversation differently with somebody to make us both aware of what they're listening to, and then to increase awareness about music choices that might produce different results.
So for somebody who's a client, how do they plug in? What does it look like when they start to get involved with Music for Life? What's the process? Do I go to the website, just start diving in and kind of self-guide or?
Yeah, as a matter of fact, we just launched our brand new website. So I don't know about you, but I've gone through a lot of website redesigns over the last couple decades since we had websites. So yeah, it just got launched this last month as we really tackle how to educate mental health providers. And, you and I, who is not a mental health provider, who is not being called to support somebody's mental health? And then how can you have that conversation, right, with somebody that you care for, that you are now concerned about their mental health? And how can you provide care that might make a difference for it? So a typical client is going to be somebody, for me, looking at therapy, obviously, is struggling with depression or grief or anxiety or anger issues and life conditions that are unfavorable that are produced from being trapped in any one of those mood states. And so the first step is to really validate what is it that they are attracted to? What is the music that they love? What do they prefer? What are the genres? And the beauty about this protocol is that it honors all genres. And it helps you to navigate through those genres to find the genres that are meaningful for you personally and to understand how they're inviting for others or not. So it really opens your mind up to be more empathetic and understanding and compassionate once you start understanding the music listening habits component of this protocol.
So if I am personally, say I'm struggling with anxiety, would I go to Music for Life to find resources, or is it more for somebody who's providing the help? So I would go there if I'm partaking personally, go to Music for Life, and then I could start to plug in.
Mm-hmm.
How would I know which category to go to? Am I tested somewhat? Is there a way to evaluate so that I'm not getting a false positive for one category versus another?
Yeah, I like that false positive idea. Excuse me. So we have an app for that. Yeah, it's a patented app. We developed version 1.0. So 2.0 is coming up. Version 1.0 has you taking an emotional profile quiz. And the emotional profile quiz delivers an image to you so that you can understand with a graphic about what is my emotional profile. And then there are results in text that you can read. And then there's links to 7 different options that you might be interested in engaging with the protocol. So the app is called Key2Me. So it's Key, the number 2, MEE. It's not a typo. MEE is an acronym I created that stands for Music Exercising Emotions. And if you think about the cleverness of Key2Me, it's like decoding myself. What do I need to learn about how I use music to express my emotions? So the app in its version 1.0 has the Key2Me emotional profile quiz. And it's important to take it, to get registered on it and to start getting involved with this part of it, because it really gives you clues about what is my emotional balance. Am I misinterpreting it? Because if I'm in anxiety, I may be misinterpreting it as just being excited all the time. And how can I discern the difference? Well, music listening habits may help you discern that. And so it's the first step in understanding, first of all, what is your emotional profile? And then the links take you to more information with free courses, discounted trainings, products. I'm a TEDx speaker. Connects you to the TEDx talk that I did. Man, it's been 10 years ago. I did this TEDx talk called Music Powers Potential. So there's a lot of resources available, and our website, the THE Music, MUSIC, for the number 4 life.com is where all of this is connected. You'll find the Key2Me app. wrote a book that's the companion to the app. Both came out last year. The book is on Amazon called Thriving Through Adversity, Prescriptive Playlist to Reclaim Joy, Peace, and Purpose in Life. And it's almost 400 pages that describes not only the protocol in detail, but we also have curriculum that it goes into detail about the 6 habits of music medicine for highly empowered people. We have currently workshops going on in North Idaho. So I'm based out of Vegas and I co-locate between North Idaho and Vegas. And right now there's workshops that are virtual and in person. So if anybody is interested in tapping into these virtual workshops, we have 2 more coming up the end of April and the first part of May that people can attend. And the beautiful part about it, Todd, is they're free. We have a grant that is totally funding these workshops that is provided through the Coeur d'Alene Symphony by the Innovia grant. And so all they have to do is go to CDA, so that's Cat Delta Alpha, CDA Symphony.org, look at Music for Life on that website and register. And so it's over a $300 value in being able to register for this full Saturday. It's like 7.5 hours.
Is it all virtual or some of it in
All
person?
virtual.
All
Yeah,
virtual.
so there's in person too. So there will be in person as well. And I'm instructing the entire workshop. So yeah, so in person and virtual at the same time. And it's at the Canopy Village. They have a fabulous brand new tech center for family support called the Family Support Center that we're basing this out of.
That's in Coeur d'Alene.
It is in Coeur d'Alene.
So somebody would have to travel to beautiful Coeur d'Alene, Idaho.
If they want, if they want
Want
me
to be
in
there in
person.
person.
Yep.
By the way, if you guys get there to Coeur d'Alene, it's well worth the trip. It is a gorgeous, gorgeous place. Absolutely gorgeous. It's right on a beautiful lake. Some of it's just shockingly beautiful.
Yeah.
Beautiful place.
Yep. You know, I'm originally from Alaska. So this was, having spent decades in Las Vegas, this was still stateside, you know, the lower 48, as we would say. And still a lot of green that I just really crave.
Nice. Very nice.
Yeah, so you can there's access to this protocol so many different ways. Our new website is really robust. We have a Music Medicine Academy site that has certifications on it that are accredited. We have a Music Medicine Club on Patreon that has a subscription for minimal where you can access current research, casts, all of that through our Music Medicine Club. So there's a lot of information. In fact, sometimes people get on overloads like, I don't know where to start. There's just so much to look at. Depends on how you like to learn, you know. Is it audio, visual, watching? You want to be in person? You want a personal consultation? We have that available. So there's just a variety of ways. So tell me, Todd, what music would you say is healing?
Probably not what I normally listen to. For me, I know there's some that makes me feel better, more grounded. I actually listen a lot to Celtic Woman and music like that.
Uh-huh.
But when I'm in the gym, it's more like 70s classic rock, which is not necessarily calming nor grounding, more grinding than grounding. But for me, yeah, that's one of my go-tos, Celtic Woman.
So it also sounds too like it depends on your environment and your activity.
Has to depend. Yeah, it does.
As to what you choose. And, you know, and healing is kind of it's a catchword. You know, it's like, so what am I healing? Maybe I want to be enhanced. I want the activity, whatever I'm focused on, to be enhanced. You know, or to be better at. So healing sometimes is a wrong word, you know, because you may not feel like you have to heal from anything, but yet you want to use music to enhance whatever the activity is.
Are there categories that fit for everybody and then categories that are kind of individual? As far as healing, what would be a general category for somebody who wants to be, say, more settled, more grounded, less anxious? Does that fit in a particular genre or is it really person dependent?
Yeah. So the protocol has you creating a prescriptive playlist based on the mood sequence formula. So you learn about how to sequence moods in a way that produces a catharsis that results in minimizing the anger or the anxiety or the depression or sadness, whatever is the struggle is, and at the same time enhancing peacefulness and joy. It's an amazing process that you evolve through to process emotions that might be difficult to experience and to let go of. Grief is a classic example of not wanting to let go of it, because the grief, if it's surrounding the loss of a loved one, you're honoring and respecting that loved one by being sad. Why would I want to be happy about them passing? I'm sad about that. And so I'm honoring them. And then music choices and life experiences tend to revolve around you staying in that sadness. So this kind of mood sequence formula with a prescriptive playlist allows you to have a catharsis where now you're no longer spending most of your time in that sad space. You're actually able to shift into feeling at peace and more joyful, and possibly doing or saying things or surrounding yourself with things that remind you of the loved one. And so it's a cathartic approach to loss, to minimizing anger, to shifting anxiety, and to release depression so that you're no longer
When I get my
suicidal.
prescriptive playlist, is it drawing from a proven body of music that helps? I assume it's not picking from my playlist necessarily.
Could be. Could be. So in our trainings, in our education courses, you learn how to discern what music to consider and not to consider. Actually, you're considering all music, but what you're wanting to do is choose the music that would be allowed in the protocol. So simply, and it's not just this simple, but a simple approach is that the music has to match the lyric. So the energy of the music. So for instance, say the soothing music. It needs to be slow, soothing, right? And the lyric need to be matching that. The lyric can't be talking about your dog died, your wife left you,
Better put away
those
the
things.
country music then.
And then the same thing with the happiness and that energizing category, that the music needs to be, upbeat, you're ready to dance, it moves you, and the lyric need to be positive, not negative.
And through the process, I'm going to get that list. So somebody's going to guide my song choice
Yeah.
somewhat. So it's not left to me to become an expert before I can
Yep.
partake of this playlist.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
Yeah.
good.
So
Because I don't want to have to be an expert. I want to be
right,
I want to be able
right,
to partake, but there's no way I can master the body of knowledge necessary to put together a prescriptive playlist. So
yeah,
I'm going to have to be guided.
right. And that's what the trainings do.
Beautiful.
That's what the trainings do. We have one of our case studies published in a journal, peer-reviewed journal. And what was interesting about this particular study with a veteran with PTSD, social phobias, is that her doctor, her physician, directed cessation, stopping of pain medication, anxiety medication, and depression medication as a result of the positive results her prescriptive playlist gave her.
All right. Now we're starting to get interesting.
Yeah.
In our crowd for Herbal Mana, we are dealing with a lot of folks who have pain. Sometimes it's situational, often it's chronic pain. So for this study, for this person with PTSD, what really happened to help this person get off the meds? What was going on with the music? How long did it take? How impactful? Of course, we know it's impactful if they were able to reduce meds or go off meds. Holy smokes.
Yeah, so it's a journey and it's very individualized. Typically, it's a daily listening of that prescriptive playlist that is put together by a music therapist to be highly effective, because the entrainment mechanism and vectoring and ISO principle have to be very carefully put together with severe cases. And so within 2 months, she was off of the medications.
Pretty profound.
Yeah. So the original music listening regimen is daily for 2 weeks. And usually there are goals that are met within that 2-week period. It's a phenomenal procedure. And I will share with you in the book, Thriving Through Adversity, Colonel McCall, now retired from the Air Force, wrote the foreword. And he is a music medicine clinical specialist. So he went through 30-hour training where you're required to create your own prescriptive playlist and do your own practicum on yourself. And he's been with me off and on for 2 decades, starting at Nellis Air Force Base out of Las Vegas. And so he's known about the protocol for a very long time. And I laugh because he said, even before I knew that I needed to do this practicum on myself, I was a believer in what you do, but not on me. He said, when I was taxed with having to, do this for myself, and he's a psychologist. His last position with the Air Force was Deputy Command Surgeon for Air Force Special Operations at top security clearance. He had quite a huge budget of like $186 million that he was managing. And so he's like, yeah, this is for everybody else, but it's not going to work for me. Well, I suggested to him what would happen during his process of 2 weeks. And he was like, yeah, well, now he has a different tune to share, that his back pain reduced, his chronic back pain reduced, and some emotional challenges he was challenged with that kind of position were greatly dealt with. And he is an absolute believer. So when you read his forward in the book, you'll hear his kind words about what his process was all about.
All right. Huh. Sounds like it could help a lot of people. My ears really start perking up when I hear how it helps with pain, just being more settled, which we know from other studies, if emotionally we're more grounded, more settled, we don't perceive pain as acutely. When we're wound up, out of balance, anxious, then our pain, our perception of pain is enhanced, which of course we don't want. That's that enhancement we're not looking for.
Right, right. I even had experience in ICU recently where the patient was actually being killed with the music. So the perception was, okay, he's struggling with breathing, lungs completely filled up with mucus, couldn't breathe, having to force oxygen into him. And so you could just see the struggle. And so the music was done to calm him. Well, as a result of that, the medic steps up, who's had significant experience in ICU, and said he's ready to take his last breath. And so the music was changed immediately. And within minutes, he was breathing again. His blue toned skin went pink. The medical team arrives stunned with the reversal. And today he's alive and well at age 93. And it happened to be my father. And I was the one that was present with all this. It was interesting when you know a patient, a client well, about what music will work or not work. You're being very definitive and very restrictive about what to apply, when to apply it, how to apply it, all of that. So healing music, it's different for everybody.
Interesting. Boy, not what I expected to hear. Pretty darn awesome.
Mm-hmm.
We're always looking for ways to control the pain, the discomfort, to
Mm-hmm.
enhance that quality of life. Well, our tagline that we developed years ago was hurt less, live more. And if we can hurt less, we get a bigger, better, fuller life. If you're hurt too much, our world gets a lot smaller. Our freedom gets smaller. Our ability to do things gets smaller. Interesting. I didn't realize music
Yeah.
could be so impactful.
There's a lot of information coming forth and a lot of support for music therapy now. And what's interesting is I see a lot of people recommending music is that they will say things that I actually take exception with, that you need to listen to sad music to get it out, and to process those emotions. I'm like, yeah, mood sequence formula work a lot better and a lot faster. So it's understanding really this protocol. So we've got a lot of work to do. We have millions of people to support. So as the app continues to build out, imagine its 2.0 version where you can create your prescriptive playlist in the app.
And that's launching shortly?
Nope, we're in development with it. So it's going to take 4 to 5 months to get it built out, and the funding is coming through right now. So this year we'll have the version 2.0, but version 1.0 is good for people to get into right now to figure out are they trapped in a chronic comfort zone? And then what are the resources that they can utilize to understand how to escape that?
All right. So I can go to the app, I can get that help,
Mm-hmm.
but I can go to the website, other resources on the website besides what I see in the app.
Everything is on the website. You can find everything I've talked about on the website.
All right. I think it's great. What a great resource for anybody looking for an enhanced quality of life. And again, our crowd is the chronic pain crowd. So this would be a great addition to the other therapies that we're doing. And anything we can do that can enhance the quality of life, prevent further pain and suffering, it's worth pursuing.
Imagine having what you need in your portable, powerful command center, your phone. It's all right there. It doesn't matter where you're at. You've got it right there. And once you know how to manipulate your playlists, you can, within less than 10 to 15 minutes, shift yourself out into feeling happier or more peaceful about something that just occurred.
I love it. All right. Well, this is awesome. Again,
Thanks
not what I
for
expected.
this opportunity.
This is good stuff. I really, really appreciate this, Judith.
Yeah, you're welcome.
All
Thanks for
right,
having me
folks.
on.
Now, Judith mentioned some places you can find her. You can also check the show notes. We'll include that. And this is well worth taking some time and pursuing. I'm going to do that right after the call. Jump on, find the app. Anything that's in an app that I can pack around, something that's powerful, it's worth taking a look at. All right. Thanks, Judith. Thanks,
Yes,
everybody,
thanks,
for
Scott.
watching this. If you like it, subscribe, like, all those other things you're supposed to do at the end of an awesome video. And this was an awesome video. So thank you, Judith.
Blessings.